Hey, welcome back to Myth, Legends, and Truth. And today we have a special story for you guys. Um, it's about the Mare. Ari, want to tell them a little more about the Mare?
Well, for starters, this kind of ties into what's known as sleep paralysis.
Sleep
Now,
paralysis.
each culture has their own explanation. So, for example, in Scandinavia, it's a nightmare. They call her a mare, a female spirit, also known as the Mara. In Germany, the nightmare is a male, a kind of a goblin called an Alporchu. In Japan, the nightmares are brought to you by Baku, which is a monster. There's so many different explanations. In Mexico, it's a dead body. In China,
Oh, wow.
it's ghost oppression.
And I think here in the U.S., we know the most famous one is Freddy when you go to sleep.
Yeah,
when you go to
that
sleep.
movie.
So let's touch on a little bit on sleep paralysis before anything, because I think it's pretty cool how a lot of our fear comes from sleep paralysis. The fact that you could just go to sleep and you feel enslaved to this one big thing. So the definition of sleep paralysis is what?
Well, I've experienced sleep
Oh, you
paralysis
have?
many times, and I myself and other people who have experienced sleep paralysis will say that they'll see something, a dark figure, they'll feel a heaviness on their chest, which according to all the cultures is that either the woman, either the male, either the demon, the monster, whatever you want to call it, sitting on your chest, pressing you
Right.
to where you can't move. You can open your eyes, look around, but most of the time you can't speak, you can't move. It's a terrible feeling. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and that's when the sleep paralysis starts taking place, which is a temporary inability to move or speak while falling asleep. And the crazy thing is, it happens more often on people that suffer from what's that? Apnea.
Sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea.
Well, I don't have sleep apnea or narcolepsy.
Yeah, it's
but
also.
yes, they're saying that when you're extremely tired or stressed, this can bring it on. Typically, this is like you said. It happens when you're either falling into or coming out of the REM, the REM sleep cycle.
Right.
So your brain basically paralyzes all your muscles so you don't act out your dreams.
So about this Mare, there's a cool painting. Well, I think me and you both, because we kind of like stuff like that, kind of scary things. They have that really, really scary looking painting where a female is just laying there with a white dress, and you see this demon looking little thing on top of her chest, putting all the weight. And then if you're staring at it, your left hand side, you see the face of a horse, right?
Yeah.
So what makes this little Mare thing so scary? Do you know?
Well, it depends on the culture again that you're referring to. So this painting was by a man named Henry. What is it?
Henry Fossil. Oh yeah.
Fuseli.
Henry Fuseli.
In like 1781.
Yeah.
I think this is let me see. He's basically depicting, I think, the German and the Slavic folklore of this, where they're referring to the mare, which they also refer to. They also talk about the mare riding horses and making them exhausted, leaving them mysteriously exhausted and sweaty, tired the next morning. But again, they also do it to the humans. We're sleeping, they sit on our chest. In some of them, they say that it's a female spirit of, basically a damned woman who was cursed, and her body is mysteriously carried around unknowingly to her, because she doesn't know what's happening.
Wow.
women writing. The guys, basically, they said in some of them, they basically give them that crushing sensation, give them nightmares.
And it takes the ability to breathe and all that kind of crazy stuff.
And in some stories, you know, the female kills the guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's been stories of the female sitting on the man's chest and killing them.
Yeah. Torturing in their dreams, different kind of nightmares, torturing them with desire and then killing them.
So the cool thing about this whole Mare thing is that it falls so much in line with, what's that? Sleep paralysis. Yeah, where you feel helpless, and that, you just can't get up, you can't wake up, you can't walk, you can't do anything.
So just imagine being in between that wakefulness, sleep state, and just laying in your bed. You're in the dark. You have that rapid eye movement still that's going on. So that's distorting a lot of what you're able to see at the moment, and you can see a lot of different things. Even when you're not in sleep paralysis, sometimes you're laying down in bed at night and a pile of clothes or a pile of something casts a shadow and makes it look like
more than what it is. That's happened to me way too many times.
So now you're in bed in this position. You can't. The scariest part is the fact that you cannot move and you can't scream.
So in certain cultures, they equate this to the Mare, right? That she's on top of your chest.
So the Mare, or in Mexico, a dead body.
A dead body's in your chest. So that's how this whole
China,
thing.
The ghost depression.
Yeah, that's how this whole thing takes place. Where if you ever feel any kind of sleep paralysis, it's the Mare on top of your chest,
right.
And you can't wake up.
You feel that heaviness.
There's a possibility that you're not gonna wake up at all. You're gonna die, which is pretty damn scary. I've never had sleep paralysis ever in my life, but it sounds like a crazy, scary stuff.
And a good majority of the people that have experienced sleep paralysis do describe seeing shadow figures.
Oh, wow.
Seeing something. Some are more detailed and scarier than others. But it is a scary feeling overall. I thought looking into this, what was interesting too, and this kind of goes back to the segments that we want to do on movies.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in the 80s, there was a movie, and I can't recall the name of it right now, but I remember there was a child living in a house, of course, with his parents. They had a cat, and there was this mouse, but he was like a little demon, like a little goblin of some sort. And every time the child fell asleep,
Mm-hmm.
he would crawl up on the child's chest and get close to his nose, and he would start breathing in
His oxygen, basically.
his carbon dioxide, his breath, the child's breath. And while I was looking into this, researching this, I saw that there was also a myth in China that talks about mice and getting on the kids' breaths or on people's chests just to inhale their breath, because the idea was that they were stealing their breath, they're stealing part of their life, so that the mouse itself can become human for a couple hours at night.
Holy crap.
Now, in the movie, the cat was defending the child against this little goblin thing running around stealing his
And that was a movie?
And that was a movie. So as soon as I read that, I thought back to that movie and was wondering if, it seems like it was based on this myth from China, like stealing your breath and becoming human for a couple of hours. But in the movie, the more and more that the little goblin was doing this, the sicker, the child was becoming. It was almost like he was just sucking the life out of him.
Sucks. Now, other names for the Mare, in our side of the world, it's the ghost that pushes you down. You know, I guess it's anything that would sit in your chest or either give you sleep paralysis. Yeah. It's just an interesting story. I think you guys should go back, look at it, do your own little research, and figure out if you guys like it or not. We think it's an interesting one just because it ties up with so many other things. Sleep paralysis, the fact that you don't have the ability to dream or think or wake up. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, but it's interesting how, you know, you just basically each culture describes them differently or calls them by a different name, but at the end of the day, they're still describing the same thing, that thing, that entity. You know, some places would call them a night hag or an old hag. You know, some of them are demons and incubus. But at the end of the day, they're still talking about the same sensation, which, you know, it seems to go back to that sleep paralysis. You know, you're having nightmares, you're in the middle of that, but then the sleep paralysis is just something totally different from that dream, that nightmare that you're having. All of a sudden you're waking up and you see your room, you're looking at your environment, but you can't move. And some of the nightmares or some of, you know, what you were dreaming about is carried out. And maybe that's why, you know, people are talking about seeing these shadow figures and all these things that they can't explain in the middle of it. But we would love to hear other people's experiences. Mine was definitely scary, and for me, I can always feel it coming on. It's almost like from my toes all the way up, like a weird sensation, almost like if you're gonna pass out, like you feel that heavy feeling just slowly creeping up on you until you can't move.
It's crazy. I've never experienced that, and it sounds like something I do not want to experience. I want to encourage you guys to go and look at the picture. But anyway, I'm gonna definitely put the picture as the background for this video, for this audio. But if you're listening to this in any other form that you're not like a podcast or anything like that, and you're not able to see the picture that we have as the background, go back and look for the picture. It's called, or the painting. It's called The Nightmare by Henry Fosselis. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Fosselis. And it's a really interesting picture. You know, a painting. It's pretty interesting, and it may have been inspired by the chest-crushing sensation and hallucination of sleeping paralysis. So if you have issues sleeping or anything, this is pretty good for you. All right, thank you guys for listening. Catch you guys in the next one. And again, I want to welcome my amazing wife Ari to the show, and we're gonna do a lot of content now. Have fun, guys.